Why don't you start at the beginning?
I picked up a camera when my son was about 4 or 5 years old because he wouldn't sit still, and I didn't really want him to. I think I bought it on a credit card at Best Buy because I didn't have any money, and I just started taking pictures of him, and I think that was the genesis of this kind of documentary approach.
I mean, both of these have great visuals, so really capturing or make that the film. Geez, I feel like that looks good.
I was really energized by the thought of just telling stories full-time and documentaries for nonprofits. So I launched with just me, but quickly built a team of specialists, and there's story producers and people who love stories and editors and filmmakers. I think what I most enjoy about working with organizations who are designed to help people, like nonprofits, is because of the teams that I get to work with. I'm usually working with an executive director or a development director, and I sit down with them for the first time and I hear their stories and I see the passion. I want to be a part of that. By now, I've interviewed hundreds of people and told dozens of documentary stories, and so I get to then bring my team in with these nonprofit teams and just collaborate together on what story can be told. I help shape what it's going to be, the structure of the story, and then also how that's going to land on the final audience, which is usually donors, potential donors. And we help shape that message in a way that's going to connect with them and lead to people wanting to share resources with those nonprofits. And it could be volunteer time, but any way that those nonprofits can take that documentary and that film, show it to their audience, and the audience say, sign me up. How can I help? I want to be a part of the work that you're doing. When we propose documentaries to a nonprofit or stories, sometimes that word carries a ton of weight to it, you know, that it's long, 2 hours long, and it's on Netflix, and certainly there's some really great documentaries. We bring that same approach, which is being very mindful to the structure of the story, and so it's very intentional. We come up with a treatment, and it's written down of the story we're going to tell, the voices that are going to be in there, the messaging. So it's really about intentionality. So a lot of folks could sit something down in front of a camera and interview them and then, you know, show that to people. But the question is what story and narrative are we telling? And so we bring a structured approach. Typically that ends up being between 5 and 15 minutes, enough time to allow the audience to connect with you and your story or the characters, but not so much time that, you know, they get bored and disinterested. So we've done enough of these now that we've really found an economical way to produce these stories. It takes a few meetings with you and your team, and we get to sit down with you, learn about you, but mainly we go back and we do the work. And because we've done a lot of them, we found some, you know, efficiencies, and we find ways to produce these at the lowest cost possible. So we're very mindful of that, so we keep production costs and teams very low, and just produce the highest level of excellence that positions you well in front of potential donors, while also still keeping it grounded and authentic. That way you're not spending money that you don't need to. So there's one nonprofit that came to us and they said, hey, we've got a fundraising banquet coming up, a gala, and we're gonna have hundreds of people gathering. We wanna show the impact that we're making. And that was taken and packaged together in a couple of 5-minute stories, and that was shown to a very captive audience in a live event. And at the end of it, you know, of course, it was an appeal for funding. And they far exceeded what they had done the previous year, in large part because of the stories that they were telling.
How you doing?
You wanna play football?
Do I want to play football?
Yeah.
Let's play football.